Okay, so if I now click on that viewport, it picks up multiple because it's got a polyline outline, but you want the viewport. And the viewport, if you, for instance, I'm going to use an example of a townhouse complex. I think I used it on the phone as well. You got 20, 30, 100 of these things. You don't know which one this viewport refers to. You select it, right-click, click on viewport, and you say zoom to viewport in model space. You can come up with another dialog box, and you can say draw permanent viewport boundary. So it will put a red block around. You see now I don't switch around. I just go like okay. So in this case, it's not so much applicable because there's only one piece of information here. But imagine now you have 30 of these repeated things, you don't know which is what.
Yeah.
So if you change something here, it doesn't change in the viewport because it's referring to the wrong model space area. So this is the way to figure out what you're working on. Okay, so now we're going to, I think let's straighten this as well. Okay, I'm gonna touch on a few things. By the way, if I press R for redraw, that box disappears again, which is a template to show
What did you do?
R for region.
Oh.
Okay. I've got a couple of shortcut functions that I've set up on my machine, and you'll again, if I go too fast, please stop me. Don't.
For my brain, you go too fast already.
Okay. As I talk slow. Okay. So if I do something and it's too quick, please stop me. Bear in mind, we will hopefully we'll have this video that you can always go back and refer to. But I've got a few shortcuts that I've set up on my machine. For instance, H is horizontal construction lines. V is vertical construction lines. Okay, so I want a horizontal one. I've got E is endpoint snap mode. So immediately my snap has changed. We've got F, it's freehand, E it's endpoint, X is auto snap, C is nothing. C is, I've got actually shift and C is construction intersection. So I think by default E is option N on the standard CAD installation. This works very, very
efficient.
Yeah. So I'm going to grab one of these lines. I'm going to take, say, that point there, and I'm going to select everything. So I can go and draw a block around it, or I can go Control A and just unselect that again. I'm going to say right-click rotate. In the bottom it says what's the angle. Now if I knew the angle, I think you mentioned the angle because you've measured it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the angle is, so I'm just going to press 0 for dynamic. It says point about which to rotate. So let's go around that point there. It says now indicate the point for the rotation handle. Can you see that in the command line? So I'm going to grab obviously the corresponding point, that one there, and I need to snap it onto the line. Now you could go and say, by the way, here's your, remember the old KD9 icon menu? You can say snap to line. All I did was I just bumped it here on the side so it's always there. So I would go and say snap to line. With me?
Yeah.
So snap to line, and I'm going to indicate that line, bang, and now it is straight. What are these? Oh, these are okay. These are dimensions, rotated dimensions, and I think let's just do something here. Go file. No, under modify, transform. Don't worry if I go too quick here. I just want to see if this is going to work.
Let's switch those dimensions off anyway.
Switch them off or delete them.
When I draw on them, I delete them.
So what you can do, Terry, can you remember how to select only the dimensions?
Well, you select the whole thing, you go to the right hand side, and you find dimensions.
Yeah, and you told me that you're not going to learn this. Why do you lie to me?
Press delete.
Yeah, so why did you lie to me yesterday? You said you're not going to remember all this.
Yeah, remember I spent the night circling over I came here and I got too off.
But nothing is for free. We need to work for stuff. Okay, so yeah, dimensions are gone. And I can delete that construction line. So I selected reading delete on the keyboard and it's gone. Okay, so now we bring in the elevations. But this is...
Go to H, Vic, just select it and go to H and delete that.
Now that's a block.
But can't you switch that off just at the top there?
You can.
Yeah, okay, that's what I...
But is that gone then?
No. If I switch it back on.
But if you highlight it, then that bloody hatch is still there.
Yeah.
when you copy it.
Yeah.
Is there any way, Vic, you can select certain layers and copy them only?
Yeah. Yeah.
That I want to know how to
Yeah,
do.
if you display those layers, copy them and
No,
then
it gives everything.
Depends where this
I
is.
select certain layers. I did it this morning.
Yeah.
That one that kept on crashing.
Okay.
I select certain layers, I block them that they marked, and I say copy
And
to
other stuff goes with.
clipboard. When I paste it, everything's there.
Okay. Remember now. Let's switch this back on. If I click on the hatch, that's not a hatch. That's a block reference.
Okay.
Now, you need to understand how block reference works. A block reference, it's a group of objects grouped together with a name. It's like a pattern or a symbol.
Okay.
Just a bit leveled up, a bit more intelligence. You've got a block reference handle that sits on a layer. So, I'm going to use an example. You've got walls there. They could be on layer 1.
Yeah.
They're part of a block, but the block reference sits on layer 2. Now, you only want to take the toilets that's on layer 2. So you select everything on layer 2. Suddenly the walls appear as well.
Yeah.
Because they are part of the block reference which is sitting on layer 2. That is why other stuff goes with.
Okay.
Okay, so what you should do is take the block. There are ways to manipulate those blocks, and I don't know if AutoCAD guys are aware of how that works. But in the block, I can move those objects to layer 0 in the block, and put the block on layer 2. So whenever I then disables layer 2 or disable layer 2, that everything contained in that block will be disabled as well. I don't think the guys understand that. And it's technical, it's complicated because I'm talking out of area, but I'll give you an example. I'll give you a working example of that. So most probably, if I look at this block, now what I normally do is I hit C for copy and I just copy to one side because I don't want to stuff in my drawing. So let's have a look at this. That's a block reference, and I'm going to go and say, and it sits on layer 14.
Yeah.
So if I go and block, edit the block, and I click on the hatch, that's actually sitting on layer 15. Can you see the confusion now? The block
the
reference.
lines are 14 and the hatching is on 15.
Yeah. Well, the block reference is on 14. Don't know whether there are lines. Yeah, there are lines. So there's a polyline on 13. The hatch is on 15, and the block reference.
Now, what
is
is
on
the
14.
block reference itself? Is the block reference that picture?
That pattern.
That thing that's highlighted, that's part of the block.
That's the block.
That's the block
on
reference.
15.
That's on.
But why did they put a reference on a different layer?
Because that was the active layer when they created it. I'll give you an example. I'm going to work on. Let's go for blank.
What you're telling me, Vic,
Yeah.
is that draftsmen are drawing incorrectly then.
Or made a mistake. Or maybe they did it on purpose that way. There could be a reason why they did it. Not knowingly. But obviously, if it's unknown or unknowingly doing it that way, they probably made a mistake. Yeah.
So, Vic, I could open a drawing with 100 layers on it, and a block reference could have components to that block on the 100 layers.
Yes. And that block can be on not even on part of that 100 layers. Could be on 101. Doesn't have to be part of those group of layers.
Okay, now Vic, we've got that block. It's on 3 layers.
Yes.
Why do they call it a reference? What is a
Because
reference?
if I take, I'm going to create. Let's create. I'm going to create a block here. I'm on layer 0, by the way. Okay, so everything that I do now sits on
Is
layer
on 0.
Layer 0. So let's do that. Let's do that. I'm going to put the hatch on layer 1. So let's go to hatch and say so my yellow. Let's go closed object. Drag and drop it. Must be closed. Okay, sorry, it's not closed. If you do something that says not closed, just go to your properties and just close it there.
That's nice for areas.
Yeah.
Does it close all the lines automatically?
Polylines. So there's your area here. Check.
If we can.
Okay, firstly, what the word is a polyline?
Okay, polyline. You are used to this. You're used to lines draw, Bang,
Yeah.
bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Right click, close. Close, we'll close it. But it consists of all those elements. Well, let's refer to it as a component. Auto does that.
Yeah.
Up, down, up, down, up, down. Polyline is very similar to this. I'm going to do a very similar thing there.
Okay, so it's just a.
But it consists of one component, one object.
How did you draw the polyline now?
I'll do polyline and also sits here and just draw. Right click, close.
And then it's one.
Okay,
it's
now
one, it's
Vic,
one
when
object,
do
yeah.
you use a polyline and when don't you use a polyline?
If you-
I use a polyline because it's quicker to draw the outline of a roof.
Oh, yeah, no, obviously. If you speak to Gerard, he will tell you never use a polyline doing site plans or roof plans. I'll tell you what.
I don't use polyline at all. I
check
use
it.
like dot to dot to dot.
Here's a polyline. You want normal lines? I right click and explode it. Now I've got lines.
Hang on, you selected it and then you just went to explode.
Yeah, select it, right click, explode.
Okay, now
Now
when-
they're lines. As
now
if
Vic,
I'd drawn it this way.
When I did some work on trying to copy the drawings that are now on your machine,
Yeah.
the only way I could do anything was go down to explode and explode it. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
I think it's because of those blocks. It's the
Okay.
only thing I think of. But so, Lou, you can take what you've got normal lines like that. Select them, right click, make polyline. I'm back in the polyline.
Okay.
So you can go to and fro to your arts content. If you do things like site plans, Terry, or the footprint of the building, I use a polyline because from a polyline, let's just go for let's just do this. I'm going to go 6 meters by 8 meters. I'm typing at the bottom. Press enter. Absolute. Let's go absolute. So 6 by 8. Enter. There I've got a block 6 by 8, which is how much squares? How many squares?
I don't know my calculator.
Okay, but you can go and say measure area, close polyline, bang, and here it tells you exactly what you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there it is. From there, I can say take the polyline, right click, make, convert to wall. I want, let's go standard wall 2720, and I want it, 220, 230.
230, yeah.
230 and click OK. So there's your walls. From there, I want to roof. So I go to roof and I say, when a hip roof, and we go 45 degrees, I want a 350 overhang, height is 2720. If you're not sure, you calculate, type in all the stuff there. From here, it will calculate it for you. And I say, I want to indicate by points or polyline. I want to go polyline because I've got a polyline there. So hit, there's your roof.
Okay.
So if I orbit that, there we go. Let's make it a bit thicker. Let's make it. What's the thickness of the decking?
The whole thatch there with the structure.
Yeah, 250.
350.
330. Yes, you guys don't work around. There you go. The thick. Yeah.
It makes it look so easy.
Look, they don't pay me for my beard. They pay. Okay, but you get the idea. That's so. If I switch the 3D off, everything came from that polyline.
Remember, please?
Oh, you're leaving?
Yes.
Okay, so coming back onto the blocks, I'm going to delete that for now. Okay, we were creating a block. Let's delete that. And by the way, remember how to select, press I, and then I can go free form.
But why wouldn't you do that for me? Remember I said to you it was I.
Yeah.
Hey?
Okay, so here I've got a block.
I think we need to still set up that, customize that thing to I for that and this.
No,
and
it's
that.
standard.
Is it
That's
standard? Because
standard.
my options N doesn't work as a standard.
Your E.
Is it E? Yeah. I tried it yesterday.
We must just check what you must do when you fire up Caddy. You right click on the. Let's just do this. Where's my Caddy? Somewhere here. There you go. Right click. Do test for me, Lou. Right click, run as administrator. Is going to ask you, are you sure? Yes. Click yes, and see if it then doesn't work. Sometimes the Windows security prohibits scanning from doing certain things.
Okay.
Okay, so coming back onto.
I see that paper's blank.
No, I'm recording.
We're
it.
recording it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to create a block now. the polyline is on layer 0, the hatch is on layer 1, and I'm going to put the block reference. I'm activating layer 2. So I'm going to select that, right click, make block, and let's call it block 1. I'm going to indicate an origin there, put a description, click OK. So there's a block. So now I can copy that block. A few times. So let's do that. There's a few times. So, but the block needs to be read now. That hatch needs to be read. So I had to go and do it now 12 times. So I take that, and I go block edit, and let's go edit existing, and I want to change that to read. Right click in edit block, that will change to read. That's what a block reference does to you.
So it changes all the blocks that have got the same reference.
The
The
reference
second command you did now on the other pattern, you right clicked and said edit.
Yes, I
Edit
right click
block.
and said block edit. So it grayed all out. I'm busy with this, so let's make it blue. And then I went right click, end edit block,
Oh, okay.
and then it ends it.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you change the color of your uprights or whatever,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
change them all on
So,
the whole drawing if they want
Now
the
here,
same
here
block.
comes the intelligence or the nonsense. I'm going to switch off layer 2. What's going to happen?
You should use that. If it, yeah. Then you won't be able to see it. So the polylines are still there, but the
And the color.
Yeah, which layer switch on and off. Because they all sit.
So
On
two
different
switches everything off. No, yeah, layer 2 switches everything off. Layer 1 will give you the color, the hatch.
Depends where they sit on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So now that I've really got you guys confused, I'm going to make it now clear, make it easy. I'm going to edit that block. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to change my color mode and put it to by block. And you will not understand what I'm doing now, because it took me quite some time to make peace with it. Not so much understanding it, making peace with it. And then change your layer to layer 0. And I go end edit block. Now everything is white. Why? Because my block sits on layer 2. If I go to my layer settings, layer 2 is white, but you want it blue. So all I change pin layer 2 to blue. When I redraw, it will be blue, because I work color by layer. So if I draw something, well, it's not that bad. I lost
Where
you.
did you get that menu from?
there's a little icon at the
There.
top.
What's it called?
Layer setup.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I now go and draw layer 3, you know, you can see already it's going to be green and it must be blue. Oh, on the wrong layer. So let's go to layer 2, continue drawing. Now we're in the correct color because I'm the correct layer. So what you do, let's just recap on the block. When you create a block, but you guys are you going to create blocks?
No.
No. But we need to decipher them.
Okay. So if I got the block, edit the block. The contents, all the contents thereof, you set the color by block and you put the layer on layer 0.
So everything in that block now is on 0.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's on by block and 0, and the reason for that is that should I now go and change the layer,
It will change the color.
Yeah.
guys, there's no difference between changing the pen color of an object and the pen color of a block. The big difference is in the methodology there's no difference, but the train of thought is this. I've got a million of these components, lines, hatch text, dimensions, whatever, on a layer, and they need to be in a specific color because of thickness, line weight. To go and modify and change each and every one of them, especially if you get drawings from other people, that becomes a quite challenge. You're going to spend day 2, 3, it depends on the information, just to get the drawing in a workable environment for you guys in the office. So the whole train of thought about this is if they work on blocks, and most of the guys do, AutoCAD, and AutoCAD specifically, they do, as you've experienced. The idea is that when I need to manipulate and get these things in a workable fashion, I change a block layer, for instance, a color layer. So instead of changing the contents of the drawing, you're going to change the references where it sits on. And that tells that line, you've got to be that color, it tells that text, you've got to be that color, and that's what we want. So the whole idea is to minimize the editing, to do it from one place and the system does the rest for you. That's the whole idea.
Okay, Vic. Let's just recap. You've drawn a whole lot of blocks there. They were on 3 layers. So what we want to do, all we're interested is the lines on that block.
Okay.
So we go along now and we mark that block. We then go to the right hand side and we put that block on a layer. Doesn't matter which layer.
If you only want to take the hatch off, I would go and say edit the block, click the hatch.
And
And
just
just delete, and then I would just delete it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll select the block,
Yeah.
I'll edit the block, opens it up for me to edit, click on the hatch and I'll delete it.
Okay.
Right click, in edit block, and that will delete it.
And now to remove the hatch out of order.
Let's
Smaller
let's
than
remove
that.
that.
Vic, in that edit you got your right click and it's got block edit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can now go and say, okay, well, I'm going to confuse. I don't want to get your brain muff.
Edit is a new block. You edit it and it will save it as another
As a new name.
block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can take that and say block. It is new block. So I don't want to stuff my new block, the existing block. So let's call this block 2 for practical purposes. And I'm going to hatch it, say close object, hatch it blue. Bam.
And that'll put it on your current layer.
And the current layer, exactly. Yes, you've got it. So let's change it. Instead of going RGB, let's go index color. Let's put it to by block. Put it on layer, whatever. On 0, not whatever. And go option N. And there we go. So that block is block 2. Yeah, with me.
Yeah.
And that block 1.
Okay.
So now, in this,
And I can see which layers are.
you can see which layers are on. Now I want to go manipulate these things. I want to say, okay, I want to replace, block to replace, that, let's go pick, I want to replace that block with, replace with, you got a list there,
Block 2, yeah.
and that one. And I'm going to say single, I want to replace that one, and that one. Option N, board, whatever, redraw.
So you do that if, as you said to me on the phone, you went to a Shanks,
Yeah.
from a Shanks to a
Ball.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but blocks is, it's powerful, but it can be confusing, and then you get multi-dimensional, you get blocks within blocks within blocks within blocks. Yeah, then it gets complicated. Because then you need to change. I've got a dentist chair here. And every component in that dentist chair is a block, and you turn try and edit one of these, you can't get it. So what you do is you take the block and the chair and you explode it. Then you end up with like 500 other blocks. That one, so you import that one and you modify that one, and then your chair starts to become what you want it to.
Take shape.
Yeah, but in the examples or the, I'm going to delete this. You guys happy with that?
Yeah, that I
Okay.
think we understand. Oh, I understand.
What the stuff that I've seen on your machine to you is with those elevations is not as complex as what I've done here. No. So if you've got one instance, and as I said on the phone, I really, unless it's part of a bigger conglomerate consortium of drawings that consist of being only a part of it, I do not understand why they used block for a single elevation. Only thing I can think of is this drawing. They've taken that. Okay, Tilly needs this, so they copy this outside the drawing and give that to Tilly. This, meanwhile, this elevation is used all over other places as well, and then it makes sense. So, but that doesn't affect you. So when you get the drawing elevation, I will just go and explode it to you, because you're not going to use it. Remember, I've deleted those blocks, remember?
Mm-hmm.
But I can still go insert block, you'll see it will still be here. Just a lot of blocks here.
Are those all the blocks?
Yeah,
in
Those
the
are all blocks
drawer?
in the drawer, yes. And then the guys ask, oh, but there's only 10 lines, but it's like heavy, can't print, can't. So there's our block, remember? There's our block still. Although I've deleted it, still that's part of the drawing. So those are the blocks that they've created here. I mean, you can bring it in and stick it down and say, okay, there, what's this? There's a beam. There's another angle to the blocks. You can block schedule. You can schedule these things. How am I going to do this? Couple layers and switch everything off. Let's see, I've got blocks here. I've got a block. So let's go. That's what I'm doing now. There's going to be a quick one. I just want to. Assets will do it. So I just want to. Okay, so what you can do is you can go and say draw, schedule, schedule, asset. Now, the idea is to skip for whatever reason, but my schedule could be buggered now. It will schedule each and every component of each and every block. It can schedule it. So it'll tell you, for that you got so many, for that, of that you got so many, of that you got so many. For instance, you can go to.
So you created a columns as a block, no? It would then tell you you've got 10 sets of columns in that schedule.
It's hanging too. It's hanging on my machine too. Oh, there you go.
Remember I sent you mine as a.
I edit these. It's got two of those, two of those, two of those, two of those, two sofas, whatever, and it doesn't even draw the beams here, so I don't know what they've done. Can you see that? It's a list of. Oh, they're sitting here. Here they sit. They're just off center. But you got of those beams. You got one of those, one of those, one of those. You can. There's a north symbol. 22. There's one of those. There's one of those. So, downspout complex, whatever that means. You've got a firebox, got one.
Now, Vic, what we're seeing here, those are obviously symbols or patterns.
Blocks.
The blocks that they've created.
They create the blocks and they build their drawing with the blocks.
So it could be a symbol they've
Yeah.
imported and they call
Yes.
it a block.
Yeah. You can, if you open up a symbol, I pressed O on the keyboard, I want to bring in that and this. I can bring in as a block. And they could have done that. So if I now click on that, it's a block. So you can bring in a symbol as a block, yes. I'm going to really stuffing up the drawing here. We just delete this, we're not going to use that. Okay, let's back to our drawing. So, coming back, there's the block. For all practical purposes, Terry, that block sits here obviously. We can go and say, edit the block, take the hatch, got hatch, and I can delete it. Right click, option N, and it will delete it here. Now there's another block. Yep, there's another block. So let's copy this one out here. There you go. They made the hatch a block. I don't know why, I don't understand this. So this, it's a hatch, deleted, and I'm left with a bit of text.
Whatever that is.
And that's also hatch. So click on that, it's hatch, with 5 of them, delete it, right click, edit block. And they could have made that part of the schedule. Thinking about it now, they could make it. They could have made that hatch part of the area and scheduled it, or put the area in there, so that then they can do an area schedule.
Schedule for what?
areas.
for areas.
So there's so many concrete slabs, so many this, so many that.
Yeah.
You mean the outline plus the hatch equals a concrete slab?
Yeah. So what we'll do is, instead of, here's my, I shouldn't delete my building. Here's my building again, 6 meters by 8 meters. There's my building again. So you can create polylines of each of your, let's say my building sits like, let's go right click and rotate 90. Delete segment. Let's take this one to there. And delete segment.
I don't know what different fix
Okay, so there's my outline of my structure. That's the outline of my structure. Let's say that's my walls. I want to know what's the area of that.
I want to know if you draw like that without using any con lines or anything. Like I always have to put them all in.
Yeah, look, Gary, you always had con lines, you don't have to use it. There's a thing here, pilot tracking. I've got to find it. Which one is it? That one. Pilot tracking. That's what I mentioned you on the phone, Terry. The pilot tracking. Check here. I'm going to switch that on. And let's go to auto snap. And I want to start drawing a line. So I'm going to go draw. From there, I want to go up. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Looks like construction. So I want to go up 8 meters. So I type 8,000 here at the bottom. You can see it here in the command in the toolbar. So I can go up arrow on my keyboard. You guys can look here now if you don't trust me. Up arrow, bonk. So there's my 8 meters up. So I want to go 5 meters to the right arrow. Now I want to go, and let's go 5 meters up again. I'm just drawing something. You want to see something specific shot, 5 meters to the right. But now I want to go down, but in line with that. There.
Okay, so
How did you get it to line up there, Vic?
Show you again. So, pilot track is on and auto snap. We'll draw a line from where to where. So all I do is I want to go up, and all I do is just follow to that point there.
Okay, because you've told it up with the arrow keys, and now you just.
No, arrow keys was nothing now to do with it.
Okay.
It's just.
No, that's just to get the.
So was that just to get the reference?
That was just to get the reference. So from there, I want to go down, in line with that one.
Okay.
Just.
So you just go to it so that it
grabs it,
yeah.
and then bring it back in line. Got it.
Yeah.
I want to go back direction. I want to go down in line with that wall, that wall,
Okay.
there and there. That's called pilot tracking. That's the one near the bottom.
That's half the time to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's half the fucking time to draw.
So it's pilot tracking at the bottom. Switch that on and off. It can be a pain sometimes. I don't draw with all the. I don't draw with that all the time because it's. Just then it snaps and grabs and all over the place. Because then I know what I've done the outline.
Yeah, but a lot of the stuff we do are easy shapes, and then we just want to put it in. Then you can use that. You know
simple.
what I mean?
Doesn't have to be only a simple shape. I want to do simple things. Then it sometimes gets in my way. I switch it off. Okay. So
Vic, do you give lessons 24 hours over the weekend?
Yeah. if she's blonde, blue eyes,
and
no silicone, we can talk.
A quick question while I'm thinking. We draw on the white background.
Yeah.
I can't get used to that black one yet.
Okay.
Can I change that auto snap color?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Because the yellow I can't see on the white
I've seen
background.
it, Lou. I picked it up on environment. What's it? I can't remember. Vic, what are the menus here?
It's sitting under configure environment settings. And there's an option here that
I did
says
find it.
cursor. So let's go.
It's got snap color. I saw it.
Cursor command line color. So command line cursor. Text cursor, show cursor color. There we go.
Okay.
You can change it. That's a long cursor, short
I'm
cursor.
going for a quick peek.
Long, short cursor, short. Long. I think it's that one because it's relevant. Let's just change it and see. Let's make it like a yellow. It's not yellow to me. Can I ask, don't you want to change your color just off white?
Okay.
I tell you what, it saves your eyes.
Is it?
That's the reason why all gets black.
Okay, now I'll try it. I just got to get used to it. I do.
I know.
So I draw a bit in it and then I change a bit and try to draw a couple of things in there just to try get.
Should be able to.
And my eyes are already bad.
I know. I'm sitting with I'm sitting with glasses here.
I have to go for new contacts again because these are battery mode.
Is it? Should I take something show command line because cursor command line color. I don't know what this is. Let's go for yellow. I've got no idea what that is. Yeah. Look, I'm in August I'll be at 28 years with Candy, and I'm
still learning.
I thought I knew a bit about it. Just these us came from the UK. I felt like an idiot. Like, what? Since when can you do that? Ah, 2 nations back. What? So yeah, you never stop really. I'll find it for you. I just can't get it now. But
no, okay, no, that's cool.
But
I will. I'll change it to even a grey or whatever. It's fine. I just battle with the black.
To do, but if you change, you know where to find it.
Yeah,
It's maybe not here.
I know what Terry's going to be. I'll have a smoke some.
Look, Terry, you.
Me.
You want to smoke? Okay, I'm going to stop.
You smoke?
No, I don't. I swear sometimes, but no, I don't smoke. I'm going to stop. If you look at your cursor, as soon as you put it on the border, it changes to vertical lines with 2 little arrows.
Okay.
Then you click it and drag it. Then it will adjust that size. If you do it from the top, it'll actually take it out. It'll pull it out. But just put your cursor on there. You can drag it. Same with the. Can you see the arrows there? Becomes 4. Yeah, top right. Yeah. You see? See the cursor?
Yeah.
If it does that, you click. Then you actually push it or pull the the toolbar out. Yeah. So now it's floating, floating toolbar. And if you take the top section and push it, you see the arrows.
Yeah.
And then when I can put anywhere, then it becomes dot. It's a dot. So you get dot toolbars and floating toolbars. And the context toolbar is this one here. So when I click on lines, I get features for lines. If I click on blocks, I get functionality for blocks. Okay. And this is one of the brilliant features of Caddy. If you click on text, that's also a block. There's so many blocks here. Text, there you get text, the most commonly used text functions immediately pops up there. So you don't even have to go and look through here.
Look, just drag this thing again. If you drag it, then it loses stuff.
You can put the same there in the middle. So there, you can also do it from there. So you can also drag.
Okay, because when I drag mine out, you lose everything that you're reading.
Yeah, no, then you can just use that too to adjust it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So you can customize nicely.
No, it's just mine's too narrow. You don't see the
it.
little
Cuts it
down
off.
arrow. And
You got 2 screens.
No, only one.
Okay. But you can actually put it on another screen.
Llewellyn uses.
Yeah, you can put it in the side so you've got a bigger drawing area. But it all depends on your screen size.
Well,
and
that's
resolution.
Llewellyn's biggest one. What about Caddy 24 is the screen size?
Okay, I'll show him something. You'll see all my toolbars here, I've pushed them to the top to open up the drawing area as much as I could.
Yeah. Well, then you're going to. Are you coming now?
Yeah, I can.
Drawing.
Okay, so we're going to get another drawing with the elevation, so bring it in. Yeah? Is that what you guys want?
Yeah.
So let's open the drawing.
Well, Lou, why don't we start with that one, then the elevations and stuff?
No, we've got that one. We can just bring in an elevation now.
Okay.
So where did we get?
Get a section rather.
Yeah, a section, yeah.
That one?
Yeah, that's fine. Anyone's fine.
Door schedule, site, ground floor, electrical section. Okay, that just means, this just means that there was a PNG or picture attached to that drawing that didn't send that width. Okay, so that isn't, it's not going to bother you. If you're going to use this drawing, carry on working on this drawing, I would go to manage, pictures.
I try and never work on the optics drawing.
Yeah.
That stays as it is.
Because most probably, 101% of the times, the layers are not going to be your format of layers.
No, they're not.
So you, instead of recreating all your layers in his drawing, take the information from his drawing, stick it on your drawing with your layers already set up and all your settings set up for text and dimensions, etc., etc. So now I can remove that pictures and click OK. So you won't get that message. If you save this drawing, you won't get that message. Yes, dear.
Our drawings are simplistic. Just go to where you save all those files, the first one.
Yeah. No, it's not there. It's there.
Just go.
No, you want to go to the one you copied from the other flash drive.
That one.
Yeah.
Just go back, Vic.
This is the older one.
No, go back to the
main folder.
That one.
Qualata.
Yeah, take that main building roof structure. Yeah.
That
Then
one.
you'll see typically for thatching what we're drawing with. That's typically, Vic, what we generate.
Yes. Okay.
Now, all the red shit, Vic, is probably from the architect and that type of thing, but the roof structure and the pole sections, you can see how little information we're really interested in.
Okay. So basically it's a full floor plan. Okay, with some of the relations that we made. Okay, I'm with you.
Look, the colors are all buggered up now from converting it to 24.
This is all in one layer.
Yeah, that's the roof structure layer.
Okay, no object layer. Okay.
That's what we will go draw on top of it.
Okay. So typically what you do is you can take all the information, stick it on layer 1.
Yeah, that's what we do. We do the
And then add
the
stuff.
buildings, and then we'll say, let's say there's decks, we'll put the decks on a layer, and
Yeah.
there's pergolas, we'll put pergolas on
And
a layer,
handrails.
and handrails on a different layer. But we got a thing called site information we make it, is our layer, our standard layer. And that's got the buildings and the
Or as built.
the
On one layer.
the plan view and the brickwork and that of the sections and the elevations is all on that layer.
Okay.
And then the roof is all on another
Different
layer
layer.
like that one.
So what do let's
But
do
it's
this.
to extract
The information.
that just the information we want. So just the walls without the lights and the plumbing and the
Okay.
all the rest of
We're
it.
not
No,
interested
I don't
in
care.
the
I don't
room
even care where the windows are.
or
what I
the
mean?
dining
Okay.
room.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So all you basically want is the roof, the wall.
The wall outline, yeah.
Okay. So here's another block. Yeah. Let's switch your hatch off for the moment.
No, that's I just delete all that stuff.
You can, but we're not going to use that. So I take that this is a wall going up to here.
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's do this. I know you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you now, but in this case, it's going to be quicker to redraw that plan.
That's what I do.
Okay, but that's the bad news. Here's the good news. I don't think you're actually going to believe me if I tell you how quick we're going to do it.
But half the problem is when I zoom in on that thing, I don't know which line is which anyway. Because if
Exactly.
you go to one of the corners, there's lines that are
Yeah, yeah.
1.3. Okay, that one's quite easy to determine which
Okay,
one it is.
but
But
here's the thing.
yeah, now which wall is it?
I
That's
don't
the
know.
question.
So that is polyline.
That's a block for the slab, obviously.
Polyline. I think we exploded that.
Yeah,
That's probably for the
that's
slab.
the one we took the hatch out of. Yeah.
Okay, so can I delete that?
Yeah.
We're not going to save this drawing anyway, so that's
No, we are.
No, we're not.
Yeah, because you're going to save me some time when I get back to the office.
Yeah, no, but I'm going to put in another drawing for you. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to select a layer for your wall. So let's go create a layer. Okay, by the way, if you see those asterisks next to the layer number,
Yeah.
that means there's data on that layer. If there's a layer if there's a number with nothing like that one, it means there's no asterisk, means there's no data.
Okay,
So I'm going to take that layer and let's make it 10 or 1, doesn't matter. Just red, so you can see nicely from the white. And you can re-index it, so instead of 284, yes, it's the next number. I'm going to make it, what layer do you want to put your structure on?
Well, our plan we normally put on layer 1.
1. Okay, so it's gonna take the layer 1.
No, layer 2.
Okay, layer 2.
What's on one?
The title block.
Okay.
So layer 2. Boom. Now it's layer 2. So if I select, say, name back to index, and I go to the top, there's layer 2, and let's call it walls. Blank. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Just this is the description.
No, that's from.
So we're going to select layer 1. And it goes.
Yeah.
I'm looking
And then
for-
we can select our pen line and our pen that we want for that.
Well, what I've done here, and you missed this because I spoke to Cherry with this, we're going to put the line style and the pen here,
Okay.
okay, on that layer. So for that layer, it will be pen 1. Is that what color you draw the walls? Okay. So all you do is make sure you don't select the pen 1 here. Don't select by layer.
Okay.
So if I now change to that layer, it's all wrong color. So if I change to walls, it's right color. And now you just draw. So, and now I'm going to need your input here. Let's start from that corner. I'm going to go for the outside. From there to there, I'm going to go endpoint. So I'm just going to go right click, endpoint, to there.
Yeah, then it's that arc.
And now we've got a nice issue, which is not. You press X on the keyboard,
Yeah.
boom, and I indicate the point. I'm going to zoom now. And I've got a curve. That's one of the other reasons we're using polylines. So I press auto snap again, and I snap onto that.
What snap did you use?
Auto snap.
Auto snap.
I'll do it again, don't stress. Okay, so now we're going to go to there.
Outside corner. So
And then all the way up to, does it go through here?
You can, that one's not really relevant on that drawing. But
Okay, so straight up.
Go straight through, yeah.
Up to where?
Right up to the end, no, the end of that pergola there.
There.
No, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wall ends there somewhere.
Okay.
And those are steel beams.
So there.
Yeah.
And it comes all the way down to there.
it is actually a cut drawing.
Yeah.
Okay, check. Copy it. Put your walls.
Yeah. And now you can put your wall, come on, make it a poly and put your walls in if you want.
You can say click on it. Well, at this point, I will take this and copy it to your drawing,
Yeah.
your template. So I'll go clipboard, copy to clipboard. I can use a specific point. Now we're going to go to your drawing, which we don't have yet. Oh, we can use this one. Have you got layers? I don't have a few. You've got a few layers. It's okay. So let's go general working. Let's go all layers. And let's switch it onto layer 1. What was layer? It was actually layer 2. Okay, let's put it for 1 for now. So right click, paste from clipboard, and there it is. Sits on layer 9 walls, land or whatever. You can change it. You can always change that, say 9, make it layer, re-index to layer 2. Obviously, with your template set up, it will be correct. You'll have the correct layer combination numbers and so on. So now, take that, and I'm going to say convert to walls. 2720, I don't know, I'll take that's correct. We're probably going to see that from the elevation. 230 I think is also there, and there we go, there's your walls.
Okay.
So just go to elevation.
No, does it always put the walls on the inside of that line?
No, what happens is when I select, let's select all the walls and delete them. When I select to go and convert them to wall, when I get to this function here, there's an option here for indicate by left, center, right, or baseline.
Okay.
So if I go, you can see the arrow pointing downwards, means it's going this direction. So if I go to right, it's going to fall to the other side. But it's set to the left, so it's going to fall to the inside.
Okay.
Okay. I was going to do what? We're going to put a roof on.
No, we wanted the elevation first.
Oh, the elevation, the sections for the height. So let's see the height. 2125. But we can go measure here.
There's a million steps there.
Now let's go measure. So I don't know from where to where. From the top maybe?
take another section width through the width of the building. Yeah.
We go all,
Yeah, from there.
all the way. From there.
Yeah.
To probably there.
Yeah.
5, 6, 4, 5. See there? So let's go there. Select all our walls. How high do you want this? 5, 6, 4, 5. And by the way,
Now you can select certain walls and make them certain heights.
yeah,
No,
you can
okay.
select those ones and change,
Okay.
change the height. So at this point in time, you want to have an elevation. You can go and say, give me a vertical section from there to there, and I want to look in this direction and stick it there. There's your, looks like nothing at the moment, but that's what you're looking at. But you could go for practical purposes. What's the angle of that roof? 45.
45. Oh, that one's 30, but work on 45.
No, make it 30, make
Yeah,
it
good.
30.
Overhang?
I don't know.
Just leave it like that. We can always change it.
Yeah.
And it's, what was it, 5, 6, 4, 5. Let's hope let's hope I make a mistake. Because it's easy to draw the stuff. When the editing comes, that's when it really becomes the issue.
Rick, just go backwards, and how did you get that elevation?
Okay. There's a thing that says vertical section. Okay, but you don't have this menu.
No,
You've got lines, draw, whatever,
Yeah.
but you'll have an option that says AEC.
Yes.
And AEC, you'll have that.
Okay.
Okay, you'll have the vertical section. In fact, you can actually get it from here. Draw, plan section elevation. There we go. And there's, you get vertical section for elevation, or you get horizontal section of plan. So we're going to go for vertical section.
Now, what's a vertical section, what's a horizontal?
Horizontal is when you look on plan. A plan view is, what's it, 1.4, cut through the building. No? What you see there,
Is a plan.
that's typical a horizontal section.
Okay.
A vertical section is just vertically up, and I'm looking,
okay.
so instead of looking down,
Yeah.
turn 90 degrees, and I'm looking, and the difference between a section and elevation is as simple as the position of the section line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So if
yeah,
the section line, I'm going to move that. Let's do that to there, and I'm going to select that section, refresh. Let's cut through. And I move it back, and I refresh it.
Yeah, it's elevation.
It's elevation. So if I do it again, I'm going to select quick section from here to here. Option in. Which direction do you want to look at? It's very simple. Start for look at the arrow. I'm going to look at that direction. Where do you want to place it? I want to stick at that side. So now I'm looking at that side.
Now, Vic, just do that again, but put that elevation,
Face on.
yeah, in line, top or bottom with the edge of the building.
I'm not
So you want that first elevation drawn turned up like that.
No, I don't want to turn up. I want that elevation placed either there.
Oh, yeah.
or there.
So I'll put a construction line down, bonk down, and say move.
No, but I want you to do that with initially, not to move it
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So put another section
On the
at
other
the
side.
top. Yeah.
So
Put a section, a horizontal section through the middle there at the top.
okay. So you know, okay, you say. So I'm going to say section from there to there.
Yeah.
Option in. I'm going to look in that direction.
Yes.
And all I'm going to do is keep vertical. Hold vertical.
Okay.
And place it there.
We're going to forget all the keys in between.
No, I've got two screens, so I can just put Vic's video on the one screen.
One side, yeah.
And I think
Again, you guys get stuck in
You
phone.
mean you had two screens?
Yes, the other boss wants to steal my screen.
So, let's put a roof on. Because I think this is where you guys are really going to fall off your chairs.
Yeah, you use now the polyline one.
Now you refresh again.
Yeah, so all I do is I don't think I can refresh. Oh, I can no refresh. Okay, because I added information onto that drawing.
Two different scenarios.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can add and you can delete, or you can add and you can delete and modify. If you delete and modify, you can just refresh. But when you add stuff onto your drawing, for your elevations or sections, you need to regenerate it. So all it does is, same thing, you just reselect. There are 10 items select, I go reselect, and I just draw a block around it. I've got 11 because I added the roof. Click OK. There's your roof.
Okay, Vic, now I want you to go backwards maybe. Lou, that's a pitch roof.
No, it's not.
Huh?
It's not. It's gable ends.
Oh, is it?
Gable ends.
Okay.
So I select the roof, I go modify, and you want a gable end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's stuff.
Okay, but you see, that thing makes what we call a gable. We call that a semi-gable. It's not.
Yeah,
actually.
but that's wrong. This is. I thought it was gonna. Let's see back to here. Why?
Okay, you've got something there now.
Oh, that's the
You
reason.
must have point somewhere. It's
Yeah. Why? Is it because of that?
Shouldn't be. Because the roof is right.
Yeah, also. I think. Is that wrong? Oh, there we go. This is also weird. I don't know, maybe I
You see, on there it's not that important because the roof doesn't actually go over that round section. It's actually just the straight roof. It doesn't cover all those
Oh, is
slabs
it?
in it. Yeah, it's actually just one rectangular roof going through on.
Because there's slabs and stuff.
There's actually a high beam that runs through there that carries.
Okay, so
And
just
then
from
it's
here.
just a rectangular roof like that that's gabled both sides.
Okay, so let's do it from there to there. We go roof. There we go.
Yeah. And you just go edit the gable. And that makes it a semi-gable, for what we call a semi-gable.
Okay, so what must it be? Besides a gable, what does it look like?
The ridge just runs right to the end and right to the end.
Yeah, so then they gable full gables.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I could have done it from when I started it. When I hit your roof, I could go gable.
Yeah.
So it will do it automatically. So then I go and say roof, gen, reselect. I'm just going to make it a bit thicker. And you said it's 330. I modified it so I can just click on that thing and say refresh. Okay. Take that one and say section, region, reselect.
And that one you can also obviously, when you generate it, turn it that it's facing the building that way. Yeah.
Turn what?
That it's not. When we draw it, we draw everything in line. This elevation.
Just so that when we use con lines, we can check things and.
Oh, you mean this? Okay, wait, I think I know. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to move that one there, right click and rotate, anti-clockwise, stick it on that one there.
Yeah, that's how we do it. But
Yeah.
you say when you generate, you can just generate it like
You can
that.
generate like that, no, it will always generate it horizontally.
So then
but
you must
can,
just rotate
you can just
it.
move it and modify it, yeah. Yeah, you can do
But
that.
remember, Lou, now we think of KD9 where nothing alters something else. Whereas here, you alter one thing, it alters.
Yeah, but I still like to draw like this. You can see.
You can, but here's another thing. Sorry, you want to say? I get excited. You say.
No, it's fine.
I'm going to take this, I want to copy this. So I copied it.
Yeah.
So when I go now and say, let's modify something, let's put in a window, let's say 238, whatever. I'm going to stick something in here. There's a window in there.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that says update automatically. You'll also find it under your AEC. So So you just hit that thing and it will update all the elevations at the same time.
Yeah, I see that.
So can you see that it's updated there?
Yeah.
So when you create your elevations, let's do another one here. So I'll go from there to there, option N, stick it there and place it there. I'm going to take that one, copy it from that point and rotate it clockwise and stick it there. So then you can see, yeah. So it sits here. So and you can work on this.
Yeah, and it changes it that
Change the other
side.
side. Well, change here, it will change everywhere. But yeah, you can do it whenever you like. The nice thing about this is when you go and place this on your sheet, and it's something we've got to work on, we've got to work through. When I go to my sheet, at this point it's blank, so sheet setup and will be, it's I think A1. I'm just going to go for PDF. A1 landscape millimeters. Let's go for style 1. So there's my sheet A1. And I'm going to show you how to do your title sheet, title blocks. It's easy. This thing is photo. You go file, insert title sheet. It's an A1. For all practical purposes, you can have yours in there. Click OK, and it's in. So now I need to stick that plan on my drawing. So I'll go to View, define a viewport area in the model space by a rectangle, and I want to indicate from there to there. It says right. This comes up automatically. Which sheet do you want to place it on? So if you've got multiple sheets here, they will be listed in that box. So this is the first one, so I click on OK. I've got 2 screens, that's why I keep on popping on the side there. What scale? 2100. So OK, stick it there. Boom. There's your plan. So do the same thing. Object, define a viewport, a rectangular one. Because you can check it there, but you work from here, otherwise you're going to rotate it all the time. That's why I say, keep a copy here. Take that one on the sheet, scale 1100, and place it there. And that viewport, you can modify and move it around. It's purely, if you need to cut it off, you can cut it off like that. It's just to define and be able to grab this object, which is the viewport, the elevation, and move it around and things like that.
So how do you delete that viewport there?
No, you don't. It always stays there. It never prints. So if I go print,
It doesn't.
no, there you go. No, it doesn't print.
Okay.
Just to show you to work. Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to do another one, rectangular one. That one. There we go. 1100. Stick it there. And this is very cool. I want to move. Obviously, you want this in line.
Yeah.
Select it. Right click. Move. I'm going to select that endpoint there. Keep it vertical to that one there. So it's perfectly in line. Irrespective of where this thing sits. The viewport boundary. And that doesn't print. So don't.
We draw common line and a vertical line.
Well, you can. People love using CAD. You can. It's fine.
No,
This is just
that's
quicker.
the way we used to do. But
Yeah,
it's
when you
a
want to do
hundred
it,
times
you want to do
quicker.
it easier, right?
Yeah.
Quick way.
Yeah. Okay. Happy so far?
No.
Oh, Terry, you will never be happy. I know you. I knew you a long time. So,
I
but
don't
that's,
know. No,
that's
I'm
not bad. That's a
happy
good
because
thing.
I don't know whether I'm going to remember all
That's
this
what the
shit.
video is for.
don't worry. And I've got a phone. You can phone. Did you bring a copy of your title block, Terry?
Vic, go back to those drawings. That one there. Sorry, Vic, I'm talking there. We can take all
Take that?
Yeah.
Is that the title
But
block?
now everything's wrong there, Vic.
So why do you bring me
The
different
colour
phones?
and everything.
Okay, yeah, but that's
else
fine.
because it's converted.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll sort it for you and I'll show you. Okay. Remember we work in the model space 1 in 1.
Yeah.
And when you place something on the sheet, you saw now, I'd set the scale 1 in 100. When you place the title block on the drawing, because we're not going through a viewport, it's also 1 in 1, but in true scale.
Okay,
On your sheet. Remember, you've got a, what's the dimension of this thing? Let's measure vertical. from there, and then just roughly. That's 22.5 meters.
Yeah.
That's stuck on this drawing like nothing. I mean, but it's in actual fact, true scale, if I say true scale, true size, it's only 841 millimeters wide anyway, the sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I bring in the title block, I need to bring it to true scale, to real scale. So I need to take this, that one and that one. I'm going to copy this from there. As soon as I were to go out the construction like that. So this thing needs to fit in an 841 millimeter distance. It's 80 meters. Do you understand the difference? What I'm getting to? So, Terry, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to rescale that. And we can do it one or two ways. I can either rescale it here in the model space, which is going to make it look like a little stamp, snail mail stamp compared to the rest, or I can bring it in onto the sheet, which is going to make it as big as the Empire State Building and then scale it down. I need to scale it so it fits 841 millimeters wide. I'm using that distance. You can use any distance for argument's sake. I'm just using that distance. You still with me?
Well, your title block's actually slightly smaller.
Yeah. Now we can get into that. Okay, so let's do some now. So it's ever so slightly smaller, but don't worry about it. We'll see it now. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to rescale it. So under Modify, Transform, Rescale.
Okay.
You'll do typically this for any detail coming from KD9, which is at the incorrect scale because of the one-in-one paper model space environment. You'll do typically this, exactly this. There's no difference between this and a detail from KD9. I'll rescale, and I've got a few options. I can say rescale the scope, which means I'm going to bug up my whole drawing, which that's why I selected only that. I only want to do the selected objects, which is that type of.
Yeah.
I want to scale from 2 points. You could scale from line. Again, you trust your drawing. I'll never do this in the client's drawing because I don't know whether that one line consists of a million smaller lines and you think it's one line. So I'll go for 2 points, which I'm going to force the snap, and I know that's going to be as accurate as I can get it. It is in millimeters, so I'm not going to bother. This is millimeters, is fine. So now it says, indicate the first point for the reference length. Now this is very important, guys. We need to snap accurately. So I'm going to go endpoint snap from that point. Now it says indicate the second point. I'm going to rubber band. That's the second point. It says, okay, cool. This thing measures 80 meters, 80,000 millimeters. How much do you want it to be?
820 or
That's it.
Well, what? 841, right?
Yeah, but you want to go a little smaller.
Yeah, 841. The border. I'd make it 820. Or
Yeah, 820. That's just easy. Type it in, click OK. It says, drawing rescaled successfully. If you don't want to see this box all the time, you can switch it off. I'll just keep it on there because for demo purposes, I need to show the clients. If I zoom out, you'll see it's as small as a post, as a snail mail stamp. That's how small it is. But now it's going to fit on my sheet. Happy? So I can copy this, or I can cut it.
We adjusted the one, so you didn't touch the height now. Is there any?
no,
Because it's proportional.
No, it's proportional.
It's proportional, yeah. By the way, you can, good question, you can scale unproportional or improportional. What's the right word? Non-proportional. That's the right word. You can scale non-proportional. If you go to transform, scale, you can change your proportional scaling here as well. But that's...
Well, I think we'll ever need to get into that.
Yeah, it depends. But yeah, normally not. Okay, so I can take this and move it to my sheet by taking it to the clipboard. So I can copy the clipboard, then leave a copy in the model space. Or I can move it by cutting it to the model space, and then it removes it from the model space, and then place it in the sheet. What do you guys want to do?
Well, we can just stick it on the... Can we make that it comes up as our selected sheet always?
Yes.
So remember that's A1 whatever.
We need to make for the 4 different sizes. We need to make sheets.
You see how simple that is. I'm going to do it for you here anyway.
Okay.
You can take it out. So I'm going to cut this because we're not going to use it. Oh,
Yeah,
let's leave it here. Let's leave it here. Let's copy it, and I'm going to use that bottom left hand corner. Boom. That's my origin. I'm going to go to my sheet. Oh sheet, I need to, let's delete the current one I had there. And I'm going to say right click, paste from clipboard. It takes more or less like a size. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to stick it here on the side. Tell you what, now we're going to do some scrutinizing on this title block. It consists of 4 lines. So let's make it a polyline. Instead of having 4 lines, now I've got 1.
Yeah.
So your drawing becomes smaller. Ever so slightly, it's minute. But so I can select them all, select all the lines, right click, make polyline. Looks like funny stuff, but it is correct. You happy? Yeah.
Let's just make the lines all black and
Okay, but if you say what black, what thickness?
Yeah, we haven't don't know what pens they are yet. We haven't got a pen set up for ourselves yet.
a fairly thick line.
So
A fairly thick black line.
0.4, 0.35, 0.5.
0.5.
0.5. I leave it on. So let's do this. Let's go file, configure plot styles. Copy this one and let's call it Thatch it. I'll give this to you as well. You don't need to worry to set this up too. So pen 5 is going to be custom. I want to print it black. So select the pen. There's the color. I'm going to custom, and because if I go by object color, it's going to print blue. You want black. So custom,
Black, yeah.
and we change it to black. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's really easy. Thickness, pen width. You want it?
0.5 is fine, yeah.
0.5. Save it. So click OK. So it's going to remain blue on your screen, but you print black. And I'm going to show you. We're going to test it now. So, by the way, this sits on layer 1, general working, but you guys got to.
That is where
it would be. It'll be title block.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to layer 1 and call that title block. So instead of changing the name, I just re-index the number. Click OK. Select it all, change it to title block. You can also make this a pattern. Remove from other patterns, yes. So now I can just double click on it, everything selects.
Okay.
Now I can move it. But where am I going to move it to?
We need to center it on that page.
Okay, there's a few ways of doing that. Here's your beloved construction lines. That's why we'll never get rid of it. My set back here to 2D. I want to snap onto the UCS flat. I want to snap on something in the air. Absolute relative. I'm going to go for absolute. I'm going to say stick this down in the coordinate of 0, 0, 0. So x is 0, y is 0, and z is 0, which is that bottom left-hand corner. So I press enter. I've got construction lines in that corner.
Okay.
What I can do is I can say let's put offset 841 to there. And you guys know spacebar? Repeat your previous command.
No.
It's so simple, but it's so powerful. Just hit spacebar, repeat your previous command, whatever you used. So now I'm going to take my title block, select M for move, select E for endpoint snap, select X for auto snap, and stick it down. You can see there's a bit of an issue here. So let's go and say measure. From there to there, it's 24.8. So I'm going to take that. Oopsie. Just double click on the sheet on the title block. I'm going to move that from there, 24.8 divided by 2. I'm typing at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm using the up arrow. Let's just be careful. Let's set back to relative. And I'm using the up arrow. So it moved half the distance up.
Yeah.
So if I measure horizontal from there to there, it's 21. Double click, right click, press M for move, click there, 10.5, right arrow is in the center.
But we can obviously still edit all that text and that in there.
Oh, that must be black also.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit thinner as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can take all the text.
Okay, Vic, that we
And make it how thin? 0.18.
Yeah. Just as long as you can read it.
So well, we'll test. So let's go to File, Configure Plot Styles. Where's Thatch? The reason why it's not, I don't know why it's not remembering it. Use object color, it's going to be black, yeah? And it's going to be 0.18.
Yeah.
Save it, click OK. So, when I go to my sheet setup, I can right click and say sheet setup. My plot style, this is why it keeps on coming with style 1. I just set it to Thatch it. I can see it. There you go. Click OK. So whenever I go hit the print option, it defaults now into Thatch it. So if I preview that, that's what it's going to look like. Oh, what's blue? Then I'll save it. File, configure plot styles.
It looks like it's only the top and the bottom line that I'll do.
I'll check now. Oh, that's why custom. I didn't save it. Sorry. So let's just save it. So if I print that, preview, it's black. You can click 3 times, it will zoom in 3 times. The 4th time, just go back to zoom all again. While you print preview. Ah, come on, sorry. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Happy with that?
Good.
So now, and now I'm going to delete all the construction. So I can take that title block, I can file, let's think where it is, add sheets to title sheets drawing. So let me just delete the viewports here. I'm going to select them, delete them.
Yeah, because there's nothing else there.
Yeah, otherwise
You
there's
can take that. You can take that. You must actually blank all those things now if we're going to make this the what's in it.
like what?
Whatever's written in them, must just say client and the areas and that. That can stay. It's just this. We just take up this address here.
So that we can.
Yeah, just like that. And then use just the numbers.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Because it's going to be the blank one. And I think we should eventually change our date from 2005.
TCW must come out.
Yeah, TCW must come out. And then
Scale, we can leave.
you can just change that, yeah.
And then the date, Vic, just the
Straight to 2019.
Yeah.
So the last time it was changed was in 2005.
Okay. I don't know if you guys are aware. You can do this.
Is that now the date you did the drawing, you printed the drawing?
No, that's going to be automatic.
Automatic.
Right.
Yeah. Your choice. You can do that. You don't have to.
Yeah,
I do that.
But what?
It takes your current date and time. When you, or if you print it, it's going to take it print the time.
Why
Your
not?
choice.
Do.
I don't know.
So let's work again.
Date normal. Here's your normal date. Also, you can put your drawing vision. It updates that automatically. Your choice. You can put in.
Do that.
You can actually put your print time, so it will actually show you the whole drawing at the bottom where the and then there's time drawing numbers. This is what I'm looking for. So as soon as I save this drawing, can play with it and customize it to your heart's content. This sometimes catches the guys up because they don't want to change the date, they maybe changed it, they didn't realize it. So there are pros and cons to it. There's your revision number automatically in there. So for all practical purposes, I could go just say and take that one out there.
Yeah.
And just move this one closer. So when I save again, I don't know whether I'm revision 2. When I save again,
Yeah, that's nice.
revision
Because
3.
we always cock that up when we modify.
Yeah, I tend to forget it.
No,
and
but
then-
now if you save, if I go open that drawing and I change something and I save it, this is going to change the revision.
Yes.
You see, Lou, why I like it is that I know how many fuck ups you make.
Yeah, but that thing is, I only change the revision on the drawing if something drastic's changed. Otherwise, I just use the same drawing.
So what you do is, what you can do is, yeah, you can say auto increment, say no, and say revision on that was revision 13. Yeah, so right, so redraw to revision 13. So now it will not update it because the revision was set to false. So if you then say update the revision or true, and as soon as you save it, will update that automatically. But you can always take it out. You can always modify it or whatever. So there's our title block. You guys happy with that? So I'm going to go File, Save Other, Add Sheets to Title Sheets Drawing. There's a drawing within Caddy, not in the standard folders, within the Caddy folder structure. I can show you where it is, it doesn't matter. Where all these title sheets are being stored as a Caddy drawing. And so we can add it. I'm going to call it Thatch. I'm going to say here Thatch A1 revision 0. You don't have to. You can override all the time. Sometimes guys want to have a revision. You know, I stuffed up something in the title block, and now it's gone. If you have revisions, you can also go back to it and say, oh, but I've got a previous one. I pick it up.
That's what I like about it.
So I can say revision 0. And it's saved. So if I go now to my next drawing, my next sheet setup, I want to go for A1. Obviously, going to have the same name, so I'm just going to add a suffix to it. I want it A1. It will be, I'll just press T so it runs down, Thatch it. Click OK, so there's my sheet. And all I go do, I want to put in here, create new sheet setup, delete. Sheet where you create new drawing should be there somewhere. File, insert a title sheet, attach it. There you go.
Much easier.
Yeah.
Go.
That's about that.
Print that, print, preview, and the video. Lacquer centered, professional, done. Okay. Obviously, be careful if you've got viewports and stuff when you save it in the title block. When you bring it in, it's going to bring in with those viewports too, which you probably don't want. So if I create a viewport, go to one of my drawings.
Yeah.
This drawing here. This is my drawing.
Yeah.
There's my sheet. It's already got viewports on it.
Yeah.
So what happens is, if I go and draw something, so from there, there's got 5 meters up, 5 meters right, 5 meters up, 5 meters right, 5 meters down. I've done this a few times, you can see it there. Let's go right click close, and let's go make them, let me just show you the stories as well. So I take that and I say convert to walls, there, let's stick a roof on. I've asked the guys to modify this to pick up what I've last used. There,
Mine does.
windows and doors, yeah, no, I'm telling you now what I mean. So
Maybe not on the same.
I can take that and I can say, zoom out a bit, go that one, 4 elevations, plan that, go to my sheet, it's all on it. So my title block has got viewports in because I know if I orbit this, you'll see my elevations sitting on the border. So whatever I draw in the center will be more or less in the center of where I've placed it, the elevations. So when I go to my sheet, which I've placed the viewports already, it's there. But this is in a demonstration situation. It's not always in a working situation. So you, for all practical purpose, you can say, I want to work.
The building takes up 90% of the sheet sometimes.
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to work in the same area. So it might be more of a pain to define the viewports before, and then afterwards you have to go and modify and change, move it around. But it's your choice. If it's not, if you guys got discipline to say, okay, I'm always going to work in this area, then they're going to reference more or less to the same point. It's going to be very easy. They already created, I'll just move them around. But you'll know when you start working with it, whether it's going to work for you or not. I want to touch on, are there any questions? I know there's a lot of questions.
Yeah,
but something they want to ask now. Okay. I can see once or twice you guys asked Ira, I think you were the person that asked, how does it know which layer? This is my active layer here at the top. So whatever I draw, with that layer active, that's where the information is going to sit.
That's the same as the old one.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So, how often do you forget to change that when you start working?
Plenty.
Okay, so here's the solution.
Plenty.
So here's the solution. It's called levels. So what a level will do is here inside you go to manage and you say levels. It will pop up here, and then I just drag mine and stuck it here. Comes default with ground floor. And a few things in bugger all at the bottom. So I'm going to set up this for you guys to use, and I'm going to give this back to you, and you're going to populate it into your machine level, or I'm going to use yours too, Jerry. And then you've got all the setup. So you can set this. I don't know how you guys work, and your I'm not an expert in your discipline. So you can set this up in the way that you work. You can set this up in different phases or stages. To me, it's going to mean nothing, or I don't know what the stage is going to be. So if you start working on a drawing, what's the first? When you enter information, do you want to take it?
The first information we put in, Vic, is off the architect's drawing.
Okay, but that's getting information from there. What's the first thing that you're going to start drawing?
The roof.
The roof outline is the first thing we do. You know, like you put that outline in, the plan view outline, first thing we do.
Okay, so let's do this. Roof outline. It's going to be, and I'm going to make this on a 5.4. It does have a height, but I'm going to leave it at 0 because we were going to work on a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Cut planes and what layer is that going to be on?
That would be normally on layer 1, 2, 3, 4, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have a layer 4, so let's go to layer setup and take that one and say roof outline and just re-index it to layer 4. Click OK. Again, guys, I'll go too fast. Please stop me. I don't mind doing it again slower. I'm going to go. That's going to be roof outline. These are for the 3D objects.
Okay.
Okay. What you might want to do is, if you're going to go 3D, is to put the section lines on a different layer, and because they don't want to see that all the time. But we'll get there when you start working in 3D. So applying. Okay. So what happens now is I'm on layer 6. I want to do roof outline. All you do, bear in mind what's going to happen here. By the way, what color is your roof outline?
Man, we used to, you know,
It's like a greenish color, almost like a
beige.
You call it beige, I call it like an olive. I would say I would use like 54 there.
54.
Or no, 56 at Terry.
So dark, okay.
Yeah.
56. And what color does it print? Black?
Yeah.
You print the black?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was printed in the color.
Okay.
That we can also change.
So now we're going to go to puppets. I just want to sort it quickly. You see what happens? It comes up all the time with different plot style definition. The reason being, I didn't define a plot style in the model space, so I'm going to do it quickly. just going to print. There's no plot style. I'm going. Yeah, let's go PDF. I'm going to print nothing. This is just purely to set this up. I'm going to go for Thatch it. Screen rectangle. Save settings. Thatch it. And say pick. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. If I now go to File, Configure Plot Styles, it should come up with Thatch it. And it doesn't. So pin 56.
Material you must have what I think maybe 54 minutes. No? But lighter.
Doesn't.
What thickness?
Yeah, it's also quite a heavy line, I believe. It's about 0.4.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to use pin 54 as well? I'm going to set it up for the same. Then you can select which one you want to go for. Why does it not remember? I changed it here. I did name.
Yeah.
Let's touch it. There we go. Save settings. Pick. You know what? Let's just preview the damn thing. Now it works. Sorry, I made a mistake. So if I go configure plot styles, that's it. Now to remember that. Okay, so we've got set up pin 50. 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, okay. So in our levels, roof outline, we're going to draw on layer 4, and because we are set to color by layer, it's going to be automatically correct color.
If you're on that layer, do it right there, yeah.
Well, if you're not on that layer,
It will be a different color.
different color. So all you do is hit roof outline here, and it will force it to you. What's the next? I'm going to add another one. What is the next thing you do there?
Columns.
So roof structure is
Isn't
2.
it columns, ring beams, roof structure?
Oh, are we going to do them in so many different what's in it?
No.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
better.
okay.
So, columns.
We do columns, then ring beams, eh?
Well, it's going to be
Are they on different layers?
it's going to be site information first, which is 1.
Yeah.
No, title block 1.
Yeah.
What do we? Yeah, title block 1. Then it's going to be site information. 2.
Yes.
Then it'll be columns 3.
Yeah. Ring beams 4.
Ring beams 4.
Structure 5.
Yeah. Structure 5. Yeah.
Where's the roof outline?
We haven't got there now yet.
Oh, okay, so that's still coming.
No, we do that roof outline first.
Yeah, we do.
But does it have to be in that order? As long as they're all there, we'll select the one we want to work on.
You can move the order up and down to your content. So just, but are columns and ring beams on the same layer? No.
No.
Okay, so columns. We'll just stick this back into layer on height of 0. That's fine. Okay. And columns is going to be on what layer?
You know, Vic, just put them, we can always move them.
Can I do it? Okay, so I'm going to create. You're going to say columns. What color?
Dark brown.
Are we going to tell the difference between that and
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
You will be if you've got a white background. You should be. 19,
Okay.
28.
And I always made my timber columns green, so
Did you?
you know.
3.
So did you.
Uh-uh.
Even the pattern's green. Okay.
Serious?
Green like that. then.
No, it's like a
Dark green.
dark green. I think it's 84 or something. Yeah. See, I've used it already. It's like a number.
Yeah.
No, I used 82, but
Is it?
not.
Okay, so we're going to go to our plot style. 84.
And they also quite thick. Also about color 4, eh? So that
And
they
they
stand out.
and they print black, ne?
No, they must print the same color.
Same color.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go, 84. And let's go back. So it's a bit of a setup, but if it's done, yes guys, you're going to see how much time you're going to save. It's going to be columns. So if I want to now draw a column, I'll change automatically the color and the layer.
We can still draw in another color on it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just change it and you draw it.
You can just change it here,
Yeah.
or you can draw it. Or you can draw it and just click on it and.
No, because some will just be columns planted in the ground, but others then are columns with footings, and then I'll put the footings and that all on it, but then I draw them in a different color.
Yeah, but I always like to try and have a steel work layer as well.
Well, it's becoming more and more relevant now.
Yeah.
So shall we use the next one? Steel.
No, not yet.
Columns, ring beams.
Ring beams,
Ring beams, 2 words.
Yeah.
Ring beams. Color?
Green.
Yeah, see, I use the same green.
84.
Hey, Terry, you want to do them in a different color?
I would have put the columns brown and the ring beams green, but still.
Okay. Make them green, we'll have to change the columns.
Okay, so make them 84.
Yeah.
Cool. And the columns?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that, what's the name around there? Like a 37, Terry.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm not phased. That we can always change.
37, yeah. Because it's not too. I just want to be able to see the difference in this stuff.
Okay, so let's change the pot styles.
And then you must decide what color you want the poles.
What color? It must print black.
No, it must print in the color.
Color. Thickness?
0.4.
As well. Okay, so now we're going to go for columns. What was that thing? Ring beams. So now we've got roof outline. Click the color change top, layer 4, columns, ring beams.
Okay. Then we've got structure.
Pole structure.
Pole structure, yeah. Timber structure. That's also changed.
Pole and timber structure, same thing.
What do you call it? Timber structure, because we're doing more and more different stuff. Different things.
Yeah, all right.
That's right.
Hey?
Yeah, let's make it timber structure.
We're probably going to have to do a different setup for timber housing.
Timber structure, color.
We always drew it in a dark blue. Are we going to stick with it?
You decide. You like that other blue.
150, 160. Was that too bright? No, that's fine.
160. Can you see the methodology here? Putting a layer, changing the color. Color?
It's same, prints in same color.
Thickness?
Can we go? Are we going to go a bit thinner on that one too?
Yeah.
What, 0.3 or 0.25?
0.25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we just add it in the level. So I'm going to create, add.
What else have we got? That's it.
You can always modify, take the video and you can go through all, because I've done 3 or 4 now, the same sequence. It's easy to do it. And you've got it. All you do is select roof outline, draw, and you draw it. You want to go columns, you want to go ring beams, timber structure, get his bloody marvelous. And
you know what we should have done? We should have brought all our symbols and then we go first legs first.
oh, I'm going to show you the catalog. Look here, go view, catalog. Here at the top. Here at the top, view, catalog. There's already a lot of symbols loaded. And some of these are 3D ones, some of these comes from our normal 2D windows. But the brilliant thing here is, this is like I played around with, like to show a client. There's Pomona, there's his stuff in there. There's Rhino, there's their stuff in there. These are like ribs and blocks. These are like 3D stuff. These also for a client that I showed. So what you do is, you right click, new palette, and you can say, and you can categorize them. Depends on how many things you want to stick in here. You can categorize them by your categories. But if you've got like 10 symbols in total that you use, you can just use one palette. So I'll have a palette that says Thatch it, whatever. I'm just going to say Thatch it, just to show you how it works. And there we go. This works with, doesn't work only with blocks. Catalog, there's a misconception. If I think catalog, what do you think? If I say catalog?
It's just a picture.
Yeah, exactly. That's wrong. It's not, and it's not your fault. No, you can put functionality in the catalog. That's a brilliant thing about it. You can. I'll give you an example now. You guys still got some coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Can I organize some?
Oh,
This is my baby.
No, I'll also have some more.
No, this
coffee.
makes a noise. I'll ask Jane to make us some. So, if I want to, you can do this for text. You can do this dimensions. You can do this with. So I'm going to use a line to show you. I've got a line that I want to draw in pen 5, line style 3. I'm going to draw, there's the line, probably outline or a sight line or whatever. I'm going to say new tool from object, show me that line, there's a polygon. So I can be in color by line, color by layer, something else. I can be totally different setting here. Like let's go to that. I can be in a total different setting. I can pick that line up and I can draw in the same colors that I've saved it in. So the text, the hatching, the same thing. You can save your text, attach it to your catalog, and just drag and drop and just do it.
You know what we've got to do? Is draw pole in length.
You can do that. Sorry,
Vic,
Yep.
if
Yep.
I create
Please,
Thank you, Vic.
Will it work to draw them in lengths?
And that's what I want to ask.
Look, you can always trim them to
Yeah.
their position, but
Vic, ek gaan terug na die plan van hierdie kant. I've got 2 lines. Vic, just zoom on this area here. Now Vic, if I say draw that as a pole which is determined by the building,
Yes.
if I plonk a pattern down there,
Yeah.
that is a 12-meter pole,
Yeah.
for example. In other words, that pole is a pattern that's 12 meters long.
Is this pole from there to there?
No,
Or is
it's
it
from there to the
That's
center.
right as you've got it. Vic.
Is that the pole?
That's the pole.
So I'm going to copy this and stick it here. But it should not be closed, no?
yeah, if it's going to be a pattern, then it should be
Yeah.
closed. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. I just don't know in drawing.
Yeah, no, but on this one it should be.
Okay, so I'm
Okay.
going to make polylines, click on it and say close it. So now it's somewhat closed.
Okay.
And that is
Measure it, Vic, yeah.
7226.
So that's
7.
it would be a
That would be
7,8.
a 7.8.
But you'd have to put a parameter in there.
But
for
now, Vic, what the question I want to ask you, you can stretch that now to 7,8.
Yeah.
Now that's the pattern.
yeah, because that's a standard size
Now
that we
we're
buy.
talking shit, Llewellyn.
Yeah.
That is 7.226, whatever it is, times 1.4 and 4, if it's at 45 degrees.
Yeah.
So that's probably
Now you're getting
a
complicated.
10, 11 meter ball.
Can I tell you, we can do the calculation in Cali already.
Okay.
You can tell it the angle, it will calculate the correct length for you.
Yeah, serious.
Yeah.
Rick, what I want to know is that's the plan view of the pole. So it's obviously much longer, as
Yes.
you know. Now, I'll place that pole in position on my drawing. But now I want my drawing to look neat because it's sticking past 600 millimeters past
The overhang.
Yeah.
where I want the overhang to be.
Okay.
Now I shorten it. Will that pattern stay the pattern irrespective if I miter it at 30 degrees or 45 degrees or trim it shorter? Will it still stay that pattern?
So we've got a 10 meter pole, but we actually need a 9,5.
Yeah.
Because of the angle.
No, because
that's the closest pole, closest longer pole that we need. In other words, if we had to calculate exactly off drawing, Llewellyn measures it, he gets 7163, for example. We know we will, a 7.2 would be a little bit too short because of cracking and stuff. He'd put a 7.8 meter pole in there. But now on the drawing, I'm going to cut it off for my eaves this straight. If that's a 7.8 meter pattern, doesn't matter what I do to it, the pattern remains the same. Am I correct? On the drawing.
I'm running in 70 different directions. Because we can create a block of it, bring it in, and as you bring it in, it explodes into a pattern. You can modify that pattern, the pattern name will remain the same.
But I can make it shorter, longer.
You can do whatever you like, it's going to keep that name.
It stays a 7.8 meter pole.
Pattern name. But the drawing obviously modifies to what you've
Yeah, the drawing will change the length down.
I'm thinking something else here. You've got a. Why do you draw it with double lines? Is this for the team, for the client? My question is this: how will this impact your drawing? I'm going to use just a very simple example. Remember, I'm a flat-headed. I don't have your expertise here. I'm going to use the 8x6 again. So you guys are drawing. I'm going to copy that and so I'm going to stick it. I'm going to rotate it. Let's say, for argument's sake, and by the way, this is really powerful. If I go copy, repeat your point. So from that point must go down 500 millimeters down, up to that point there. It's done. Okay. Okay. I bleed very quickly. Okay, but I'll do that again. But my question is, what is the difference between that drawing? We're going to get the marketing. Let's copy that.
You're doing about a line.
What's the difference between that drawing and that drawing for you?
That one's just a line. The other one's
Yeah, but my question is, does it have to be double lines? Does this go to a team on site
Yeah,
to
it
check?
does, yeah.
Does it? It does? Okay, the reason I'm asking this. Yes, now I need to remember where.
A lot of oaks only draw lines.
I'll tell you why, Jerry. I'll tell you why. If I take this, somewhere. I just centered it there. And we're probably going to break this up. This is going to be 2 poles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And how am I going to do this very quickly? Just got 5 rings, just bang, bang. That worked well.
How do you want to delete all the segments?
Yeah. Okay, there's going to be all of them. Yes, I need to remember where this. Just give me half a second. Thank you, Will. Thank you. Chord line.
Vic, where you going? Can I
Just,
that you
yeah,
don't
thanks,
know
Judy.
it?
Shit, what's the next name?
Was that enough sugar?
Plenty.
If you want a biscuit, I'm not going to put in it.
Diabetic.
Uh-uh.
Oh,
But my sugar does run a bit high.
okay. What's the next name, man? Ah, here we go. Yeah, I saw it now. Gerard. From the winter. Who is it now?
You were the overalls.
No, Gerard from the winter. I saw him now. Oh, they're blind here. What the hell? Yeah. Thanks, Dean. That's me now, I think. We did up that freaking 5601. Okay, so I'll utilities system.
You know, Lou, one of the main reasons is when guys like the engineers Vic analyze the drawing, they've got to see the bolts where we bolted and align them in the conduit.
Sure. Now, I'm thinking, just to make your life easier with regards to working out the angles, looking on plan view, looking at the angles and stuff. Bear with me, I'm going to load 2023 because it's the 23 that I've done this for them. What we've done is, obviously you've got I don't know how to determine. You know how to determine what the increments or the frequency of those poles are to be able to bear that load. How do you determine that?
Vic, okay, the national spec says they can't be further than 900 apart. We work on 800 as a standard. 800 is the number we use between two ridge points to calculate the spacing.
Okay.
So if it's slightly above 800, we'll use it. If it's slightly below, we don't like to go to 900.
Okay. I want to show you what you can do here. Let's just open up one that just attached. Okay. What we've done here, and we've done this very quickly. Very fast. We hatched this area for this roof plan.
Okay.
And we've worked out the hatch according to the scale and the offset that they want. I know exactly what the hatch scale must be to give me those lines which represents now the poles at a specific distance, at the required distance. In this case, this is for sheeting, by the way.
Yeah.
This is like 686 roof sheets. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so just imagine those are poles.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you've done is, don't worry about this because she's doing the same thing. It isn't going to work, but let's just see. I can say, I want to indicate lines. What's the pitch? 45 degrees. With this, let's go. Tell me it's going to work. So let's go for the first one. Second one. Third one. Fourth one. Let's see what happened. So if I go, right?
Well, that's the length.
Yeah. So if I measure that from there to there, it measures 2.5, but it's actually 3.550 because of the angle. Yeah. So now you can now go and say, modify block, schedule block. Yeah. Schedule. Shit, I think everything. I can't remember. I cannot remember this. Done this long time ago. So in the rectangle, I've got 11. We did something. There's a command that we did. Oh, okay. So we got draw, schedule, general schedule. Is the roof area details by length. There to there. Oh. I don't know if that's going to help you at all when you want to do it physically on the drawing.
Is there any way that you
But as soon as you start trimming pieces out of those lines and that, you're going to bugger that thing up.
Yeah, but that's what they've got here. The actual adjusted length.
No, because as soon as you put that pole over there's the ridge pole you put your rafter draw. As soon as you trim that section out in between, it will bug up that calculation.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to create patterns.
Yeah.
Then you
No, look what I'm saying is, for you from a designing point, when you start to do this, you currently now go and draw it and then measure, calculate, whatever. I'm not saying it's drawing like this, and that will tell you, oh shit, okay, I need, okay, da. Now you can go and draw to whatever length, or it's under the actual length obviously. You can draw then those patterns, or use, whether you then draw and save it as in the catalog.
I remember
use
just
the
looking at draw first.
Okay?
I remember what they've done first.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm just
look, you know, Vic, but you know, with the economy being so shit, we haven't replaced anybody now. Llewellyn and myself. I'm the switch bitch, I'm the bookkeeper, whatever. He's doing calls, he comes back, he does quotes and designs. We just,
lean them in. Everyone is doing it.
So anyway, Vic, I'm doing the pole calculations for a job. And you get disturbed, we get disturbed.
Yeah,
He comes off site, he says we're 32 poles short of the one length. That costs us big. Now this, Lou, even if we had a schedule like that, and it says actual length 806, measured trim length 850, you know you're going to use a 1,2, so you bloody adjust it. I've never had these Morris before, have you?
Yeah, I have the chocolate ones.
So there's one. I don't know how we're going to do this, but I just want to show the let me show you the methodology. So there is one, and you can put construction points to it, for instance, on the corners maybe if you want to. So I'll select that, and I'm going to make this a pattern. Make a pattern. And the reason I'm making a pattern, double click, I select everything, it goes. But I'm going to take that pattern, I'm going to make it a block, depends on I've got to have the correct laser stuff, they're all stuffed up, don't worry. And we're going to say pole, I know we're going to call this, let's just measure it from there to there, that's a 3608. So what do you want to say this as?
Work it out quickly, Lou.
How do you work it out? 3608
times 1.4142.
1.41.
4142 now.
What's that?
45
The
degrees.
actual length of the pole.
Sun, cos and tan.
So it would be a 5.4 there, Paul.
Kan ek dit terug?
Maybe a 6.
Thanks,
No, it's
mate.
300 more there.
Bye.
You don't get more than 300. If
So-
it's 300, I use the 5.4.
So do we save it as a pattern name of 5102?
No, 5.4.
That
Save
would be
it.
the actual pole.
5400, and this is the it's a 3608 actual. No, 3608 plan view, plan length. I don't know. I'm sticking stuff in the
You see, it'll be,
plan length.
it'll go between 3608 and another size.
Yeah.
We'd all work into So you see, Terry, that's not going to work because if you use a ridge, then it's flat, then it's not times that length. So you use a 5.4 raft and a 5.4 ridge, it's two different things.
Yeah, but you can create patterns for that.
Yes, you know how many patterns you can have. Different thicknesses, different lengths.
It's to place them that's the problem.
That's the thing, I wouldn't worry with this length.
It just makes your quoting so much easier because you just count those patterns.
I look at this. I'm going to show you this. I know that's 10mm difference. I've got nothing to snap to.
Yeah.
So you need to get, see that yellow little cross
Yeah.
that you call an aperture? You need one of those to snap to something.
Yeah.
So to get that, I can press equal sign, 10mm, start at the bottom,
Yeah.
arrow to the right, boom, it places it there. So it offsets it with that distance. Use equal sign. So if I go view catalog, right click, add new tool from object, there's my pole. I can bring it in and stick it wherever I want to. In this case, let's say there. So let's hide the patterns for the blocks for the moment, switch it back on. I'm going to select that. I'm going to say, I did this earlier very quickly, I'm going to redo it for you again. Transform, move, copy or repeat. I'm going to select the stuff, repeat it to a point, indicate there's a position to translate from. I want to translate from that point, indicate the next copy is there. Now it says show the last copy. There. They're there. So if I switch them back off, and I select all them and delete them, and switch it back on, like the hatching, now we've got blocks.
Yeah.
So I can now go and say modify block, schedule block. I'm going to schedule all the, if you had multiple poles, they'll all be there.
Yeah.
Then I say select all of them in a rectangle, and it says indicate diagonal corners, so from there to there, and I say stick it here. We've got 30 of those poles. And that's without going through the other stuff. It looks so complicated. It looks complicated because I couldn't find it. It's not that complicated. If you do 2 or 3 of those little exercises, it's a piece of
it can
pie.
definitely work.
But will that help?
I mean, if we had to draw patterns, we're grazing all your biscuits.
Just do.
Blue, how to place them, I think we'd get quite quicker. I mean, we know when we start a structure, corner pole's going to be a 1.5 or 1.8. You know what I'm saying? And so you carry on. As you say, we're going to have horizontal poles and poles at, I mean, it's like corners at 35 degrees, not 45 degrees.
If you go for length in vertical, look on plan, because you work with horizontal stuff on plan, it's easy to identify and calculate. When you start working on plan with vertical stuff, now it becomes a challenge because you can't judge the length looking at plan. So what you'll do then is you go onto the 3D side of things, and you use a mass element, a slab object, a mass element object, any of those objects that you can give height. And even looking on plan, we can create a little schedule for you that will schedule the lengths of those poles.
Let's I can pass.
Whether it's a slab or mass element, from Caddy's point of view, doesn't matter. So then you can do a schedule and tell you of those lengths you got so many, of those lengths you got so many. So you can schedule not only in the plan view but also in the vertical without, because obviously if I orbit this thing, it looks like a flat like a tapered there. But if you start working in 3D, that can also come into play. And obviously if you're going to create elevations and stuff, if you work with the 3D, the added advantage is you can get quick elevations. And you can very quickly see, I think you mentioned it too, you get stuff in the architect, the plan elevation, the stuff don't meet up. And that's because they work the old Kelly 9. Nothing wrong with it, but because guys are pushed for time and pressure and so on, guys make mistakes. With the 3D, I found it a few times. You know, with these, what do you call it, there's ducting on the side of the building, they got these 115, brick on the side of the pipes, and they're covered with.
Yeah.
You get a ground in the first story there. Those things are actually out with 115. So the bottom one sits there, and the top one sits offset with 115 because of that mistake. And so in 3D, you can quickly see them.
Like yourself.
You see, Vic, that's why when we draw very simplistic. You can see by it. I mean, it's simple flipping drawing.
That's what I thought. Maybe you can make quicker.
I'll check for you more. As far as I know, that was quite long ago, but I'll just check for you. I'll get back to you. I said I will get back to you. I just want to check when, as far as I know, it was paid. Not at the moment. I'm in a meeting this afternoon. And by Rickstone.
Huh?
Who would pay Rickstone? Returning train?
No, gotta be joking.
No, pay you.
Lou, he owes us how many grand for how many years?
No, he still hasn't sorted that out.
Yeah, well, he sorts that out, I'll pay them.
My thumbs up. I think your brain
No,
is
but I need
full.
to already.
Is there something that you guys want to touch on immediate that you think you're going to have a problem with when you get back?
No. I wanted to know if you could copy out of paper space to what's name, but now I don't need to because you showed me earlier. I'll check on that.
I'm going to stop the video.